Long before recorded history, before civilizations rose and fell, the Earth was a stage for forces far beyond human comprehension. In the shadows of primordial landscapes, two extraordinary powers contended for influence over life itself: saints and titans. One represented intelligence, subtlety, and preservation; the other, brute strength, dominance, and raw survival. These were not myths or legends whispered in temples. They were living entities, titanic in scope, whose conflicts rippled across ecosystems, guiding the course of evolution and shaping the very essence of humanity. Saints were beings of an enigmatic nature. Light-footed, silent, and cunning, they thrived not by sheer force, but by manipulation of the environment and understanding of the creatures around them. They were architects of survival, weaving strategies that would ensure continuity of life. Their power was invisible, yet profound, a guiding hand that influenced migration patterns, the growth of species, and even the instincts of early humans. To observe a saint was to witness patience incarnate, every action deliberate, every choice calculated. Theirs was a power not measured by the collapse of forests or the shaking of mountains, but by the quiet victories that allowed life to flourish. In stark contrast, the Titans were colossal forces of destruction and creation intertwined. Their strength was immediate and undeniable. Mountains bowed beneath their weight, rivers shifted to accommodate their passage, and entire herds were annihilated with a single motion. Yet, even within their brutality, there was method. Titans were embodiments of primal laws, their very existence dictating who would survive and who would perish. They were living reminders that evolution is not a gentle teacher. For early humans, a Titan's shadow represented instant death, a presence that demanded awe and fear. To endure in a world where titans roamed was to understand vulnerability at a scale that defies imagination. The interaction between saints and titans was not constant warfare, but a complex dance, a balance of dominance and subtle guidance. Saints often sought to counter the raw violence of titans, redirecting their movements, orchestrating events in ways invisible to human eyes. Through this invisible tug of war, species were tested, weaknesses exposed, strengths refined. Predators evolved sharper instincts, prey became more elusive, and humans, often helpless in the face of both, began to develop awareness, caution, and ingenuity. Every survival story etched in the bones of ancestors carried traces of this hidden struggle. Early humans were unwitting witnesses and participants in this grand chess game. Each encounter with a titan, each observation of a saint's intervention, carved instincts into their psyche. Humans learned to read the subtle cues of the environment, the rustle of leaves signaling a predator, the sudden calm suggesting a presence far larger than themselves. They began to understand that survival was not just a matter of speed or strength, but perception, strategy, and timing. The saints taught, without teaching, the value of restraint and observation. The titans enforced harsh lessons in mortality and resilience. Humanity emerged between these forces, shaped by both fear and inspiration, guided by danger and opportunity. Saints were not merely passive observers. In forests thick with danger, they influenced the paths humans took, subtly directing them towards resources, water, and safety. Legends say that in certain places, hidden symbols, inexplicable tracks, and the inexplicable behavior of animals acted as guides, saints leaving a silent imprint on the terrain. Early humans, though incapable of fully understanding these interventions, responded instinctively, developing skills that would later become essential for survival and eventually civilization. In essence, the saints cultivated foresight and innovation, laying the foundations for the human mind to outpace brute force. Titans, on the other hand, left no room for error. They were trial by fire, living tests of endurance and adaptability. A single misstep near a titan could end life instantly, yet those who survived gained knowledge and strength that could never be taught. Over time, humans began to internalize patterns, to sense danger, to anticipate the movements of these colossal beings. A titan's hunt became a silent mentor in resilience and strategy. This was evolution accelerated, not through random chance alone, but through repeated exposure to overwhelming challenge. Survival was not guaranteed, yet each near encounter with a titan honed the mind and body of early humans. The struggle between saints and titans also created the conditions for the rise of myth and reverence. Early humans observed patterns that defied explanation: storms, floods, animal migrations, and mysterious disappearances. They attributed these phenomena to unseen forces, creating the first gods and spirits in an attempt to rationalize the invisible war surrounding them. Saints became the archetype of wisdom and guidance, often portrayed as protectors or spirits that guided the worthy. Titans became embodiments of chaos and punishment, awe-inspiring deities that demanded respect, fear, and sometimes worship. These narratives were not mere stories. They were encoded survival strategies, cultural lessons born from observation of forces far beyond human control. In some regions, saints and titans directly influenced the evolution of species, including humans. Groups that learned to navigate titan-dominated territories developed social cohesion, communication, and tool use at accelerated rates. They became more cautious, cooperative, and inventive. In areas under saint influence, humans learned to exploit subtle environmental advantages, tracking prey, harnessing fire strategically, and predicting natural cycles. The interplay of these forces accelerated cognitive evolution, shaping the mental frameworks that would later underpin language, culture, and society. Humanity's rise was neither random nor inevitable. It was sculpted by the unseen hands of saints and titans alike. Conflict between these two forces occasionally erupted in ways that left visible scars on the earth. Entire valleys were reshaped, rivers rerouted, and forests flattened in the wake of titan confrontations. Saints, using cunning over power, countered by redirecting herds, preventing ecological collapse, and preserving the delicate balance of life. These interventions often went unnoticed, yet the consequences were profound. Species that might have been eradicated survived, ecosystems stabilized, and the stage was set for humans to explore, adapt, and expand. Every human innovation, from the first sharpened stone to the earliest shelters, carried echoes of this hidden war. Even the psychological imprint of saints and titans endured. Humans learned caution, patience, and strategy from saints, virtues that encouraged planning and foresight. From titans, humans absorbed the necessity of courage, decisive action, and endurance. This dual inheritance became embedded in the human psyche, shaping social structures, decision-making, and even spiritual beliefs. In a sense, the saints instilled wisdom, while the titans instilled resilience. Together, they formed the foundation of what would become the human condition: a mind capable of foresight, a body capable of endurance, and a culture capable of transformation. Over time, as humans spread across continents, the influence of saints and titans continued to ripple outward. Their struggle became less visible, yet no less consequential. In deserts, mountains, and tundras, humans encountered echoes of this ancient conflict. Legendary creatures described in myths, inexplicable natural phenomena, and sudden evolutionary leaps all point to the lingering effects of their presence. Humanity carried the lessons learned in the crucible of this hidden power struggle into every corner of the planet, building societies, mastering environments, and ultimately rewriting the rules of survival. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of this ancient struggle is its subtlety. Saints and titans did not simply annihilate or dominate, they tested, guided, and provoked. Their interventions were strategic, often indirect, allowing humans to adapt without fully comprehending the forces shaping them. This hidden curriculum of survival accelerated cognitive growth, teaching lessons that would only become clear millennia later. Every instinct, every innovation, every act of courage can trace its lineage to these extraordinary entities, whose presence turned mere survival into a complex game of strategy, perception, and adaptation. In the end, saints and titans were not enemies in the traditional sense. They were complementary forces, shaping life through contrasting methods, one through subtle guidance, the other through overwhelming challenge. Humanity arose between them, a species forged in the crucible of indirect mentorship and raw trial. The lessons passed down were not written in stone, but embedded in DNA, instincts, and behavior. They became the architects of human cognition, emotion, and culture, leaving a legacy that continues to influence us today, unseen yet undeniable. Understanding the hidden struggle between saints and titans offers more than historical curiosity. It reveals the blueprint of human evolution.